Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. Before I start gardening today, I'm trying to wear this guy out, which is probably a waste of my time because he doesn't stop really. Okay, ready? See if I could do this left-handed. He doesn't stop. He just keeps going all day. I don't know how he does it. But anyway, over the weekend, I actually was able to get in the garden over the weekend and got a ton of stuff done. And I have to say, I had the most wonderful day just hanging out in my garden, going really slow. And I planted a whole bunch of stuff, a lot of it that I did not get on camera, which was kind of a bummer, but I was just enjoying myself so much. I figured I would just show you guys what I planted later. Some of it I did film. I filmed planting in the trial garden bed, and I'll show you guys that later on this week. But Sunday was Easter. Saturday, I had kind of a free day. So I spent, I think, like 7 hours in the garden. And I have to say, what I did, normally I get tired, and that's why I have to go inside and stop gardening. But on Saturday, I just wanted to share this with you guys. I set an alarm on my phone, or a timer on my phone, for every hour. And every hour, I went inside, I drank a glass of water, and I reapplied sunscreen. And I truly think that's what allowed me to get through a longer day in the garden, even though it was warm and I was tired and all that kind of stuff. Just staying hydrated. You know, I ate lunch. I took a good lunch break and had lunch, and I kept sunscreen on. So, little PSA to all of you, but let me show you what I got planted on Saturday. So first off is this section here in the long border. I think this looks so pretty with the sun behind it. You can see I have the peachberry ice heuchera that is just, it's glowing. It's literally glowing with the rising sun. It's absolutely gorgeous. And my plan for this was to plant something purple behind it. So what I did is I did some plain the blue salvia. And the reason why I think this combination is going to be absolutely fantastic is because this fence right here is a north-facing fence. So it does get a little bit more shade than the rest of my garden, simply because it's a north-facing bed. But these two plants right here, they can both handle sun and both handle some shade. And both of them will do well in both. But they're going to be able to handle the hot afternoon sun that this garden bed does get, because the sun comes up and over, and earlier, closer to the winter time, it's full shade. Closer to the summertime, it's full sun. And then it does get some blasting hot afternoon sun. So I think these are going to do really, really well right here. We do have my neighbor's almond tree right here that does give a little bit more shade to this area, which is where my alstroemeria, my summer break alstroemeria is, that just looks so beautiful. It's just gorgeous. I think I'm going to take this azalea out. It's just getting taken over by this alstroemeria, and it's just not growing. And we have really alkaline soil and water, so azaleas don't really do really well for us. So I think I'm just going to give up and take that out. But as you can see, this is just looking beautiful. And then over here, I worked a little bit on my dry creek bed. I still have some more work to do. But over on the right side of my dry creek bed, it's pretty much all done. It's planted. I even can thin it out a little bit. I did get a delivery of mulch. I did give in. I need mulch so badly, and I was not getting any deliveries from getchipdrop.com, the free wood chips. So I ended up getting a delivery from my local landscape supply place of what's called walk-on mulch. And the reason why walk-on mulch is so good is because it's it's different sizes. It's not one specific size, like the nuggets aren't one specific size. So this is actually going to break down and feed the soil, which is exactly what I want. So this wasn't cheap. It was hard to spend money on mulch when I've been getting free mulch for so many years, but I just really needed some good mulch this year. So I started adding mulch to this area. Over here, I need to still add mulch, and I just started adding mulch over here. And I have the I want to call it Calliophis. It's not Calliophis anymore. Oenthera, Ladybird Sunglow Oenthera. I planted here, and I planted some lemon coral sedum. I have some lantana, and I need to get some more whirlwind blue scaevola to plant over on this side. But basically, I'm just going to be matching the left side with the right side. So you can see I got started working on that. And then over here on the other side of the dry creek bed, I actually planted some barberry, some Sunjoy Fast Neo, which is basically very similar to the Sunjoy Neo, but it's supposed to grow even faster. And it's these beautiful red barberry once it starts growing. And I think it's just going to be so pretty. So I wanted to get these in the ground ASAP so that they could start growing. And I think that they're going to look really pretty, kind of falling over the dry creek bed, spilling over the dry creek bed. So I got these planted. I made some progress with weeding and mulching over here. There were so many weeds over here, like just little tiny ones, ground cover ones. I think it was the oxalis. So I spent a long time over here and then started mulching. I have so much more to do. But the big thing that I did is I planted up my trial garden bed, and I don't want to spoil it because I'm going to do a video where I explain all of these plants that I planted for you all and that I'm trialing out this year. I just think it's going to be really fun to see how these guys do. So that'll come later on this week. Okay, but what I'm planning to do today is I am planning to plant some Cleome or Cleome. I looked it up and apparently both pronunciations are correct. So I'm just going to say Cleome because that's where my brain goes. So I'm going to plant some Señorita Rosalita Cleome in my garden, which I have never planted this plant before. It is a new to me plant. I'm very excited about it. And this is Proven Winners does plants of the year, basically annual of the year, shrub of the year, hydrangea of the year. And they have a new category that they're calling landscape annual of the year. And I love that because that's where I use most of my annuals is in my landscape. So of course I have to try this one out. Okay, so here's the plant in question. It is a Señorita Rosalita Cleome, or Cleome, otherwise known as a spider flower. And I have to say, I've never planted a spider flower before. I cannot compare this one to other spider flowers, but apparently this one from Proven Winners is supposed to be not sticky. Apparently other spider flowers, they have sticky leaves and sticky stems, and this one's supposed to be not sticky. Although I will say as I'm doing this, I do feel a tiny bit of stick, but you know, not a lot, not bad. I will say this has a really interesting scent to it. It's the foliage and the blooms kind of have this herbally scent to it, which I think is absolutely lovely. This one will get up to about 4 feet tall, maybe about 2 feet wide, 1.5 to 2 feet wide. So it'll definitely be a really beautiful presence in the garden. And I'm really excited to try this one out, just simply because I've never tried this plant out in my garden before. It is hardy zones 10 through 11. So if you live in zones 10, it should overwinter for you. I will, of course, leave it in over the winter in my zone 9B garden to see how well it does, but I'm not expecting it to overwinter. Then for underneath it, kind of tucked underneath it, I was inspired by the pictures on the Proven Winners website. They have great pictures. They have great inspiration for planting combinations, and they had this plant in the landscape. They planted the Cleome, and then underneath it, they had a dark sweet potato vine and then some type of super bells or super tunia. I don't know what it was, but it just looks so pretty. The dark with this, I just thought that that was so gorgeous. So I actually planted this one. This is Sweet Caroline Medusa Black, which is a new one. I actually planted this one in my trial garden bed. I'm trying it out in my trial garden bed, but I had some left over. So I decided just to plant them in the ground with the spider flower. I just thought that that would be so very pretty. And the Medusa, it's called Medusa because of its lobed leaves, right? You can see how lobed they are. When they have Sweet Caroline Medusa Green, which is really pretty. That's been out for a couple years now. And now this is the new one, Black. And it is just the most interesting sweet potato vine. Very interesting. And this one does not get as big as other sweet potato vines, apparently, right? We'll see. I'm interested. I'm really interested to see how this does, how this does in my garden this year. So anyway, these two are what I am planting today. And I've decided I'm going to plant them right over here in my orchard garden along this pathway right here. I had lavender in this pathway, and the lavender did terribly because I don't have great drainage in this pathway. So actually what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to plant high, which basically means I'm going to dig like half of a hole, and then I'm going to fill in around the plant with extra compost so that the plant is actually sitting above where the water would sit, where the poor drainage is. So we'll see how it does. You know, there's no guarantee. This is definitely a difficult space, but I just thought a line of these spider flowers would be really, really pretty. And I still have to thin out some of these rocks too, so I will be doing that. I do have my hardy hibiscus here, my summerific hibiscus ballet slippers, and that's coming back really beautifully. And then I have my salvia leucantha, which is actually blooming. It's not supposed to bloom until later on in the fall, but I've got a couple blooms. And then my most beautiful thing, I have my Eden climbing roses that are in full bloom right now. I need to train some of these up. I keep training them up and they're just growing so fast. I fertilized these with the Van Winden's Rose Mix, and I actually think I'm going to re-fertilize. I'm going to fertilize again. It's been about a month since I fertilized, and I think I want to do multiple applications and see how that does, especially because these are a new plant. Over here, my icebergs are just looking fabulous. I could just go on and show you guys everything because everything's looking so good. But let me stop and let me go ahead and get these guys planted. So I've got all the holes dug, or I should say half holes dug, for all the Cleome and then for the sweet potato vine. And I have to say, I think they look really, really pretty here. I'm hoping that these guys work out. I want something planted here that's going to be able to take the issues that I have. And as I was digging, I was realizing this area doesn't have much drainage issues. The soil looks fine. It looks nice. It looks loose. But as I come down here, this is where a lot of, I don't know, like it's still wet down here basically. So I don't think we have a leak, you know. Jason and I have checked so many times. I think it's just really, really poor drainage down here. So anyway, this is where I'm going to be focusing on not planting deep, basically planting halfway and then mounding it up with compost all around it. And I'll see if that works this year. All right, all done. It looks so good. It's amazing what a layer of mulch can do. It makes such a difference. So here they are planted kind of in a swoopy line, I guess is how I'll say. I'm hoping that they all grow together and then they just create this path of the Señorita Rosalita Cleome. I think it'll be so pretty. And then you can see I have the Medusa Black kind of spotted along, you know, just not like one solid line of them. They're not going to grow into each other, I don't think. we'll see. But I think it's just going to give a little bit of an accent color, that dark, deep burgundy color next to the green foliage of the Cleome. I just think it's going to be so pretty. I have to show you all from over here. I mulched over here, mulched all around, and mulched all the way over to this side. I haven't started mulching over on this side yet, but this looks good. And I'm about at the time where I cut back my lemon coral sedum. Lemon coral sedum does bloom this time of year. You can see it has this yellow bloom that I personally am not a fan of, and I just come in and I just trim it down, and so then I get nice new growth that kind of looks like this. See that? And that's just because the lemon coral sedum is so happy here, which is great, which is a good thing, right? But I kind of like to cut it back a little bit. So I'll be doing that. I usually think of that as a May job, but we have been so warm this season that I might have to bump that up to April. But you can see from this side, it's looking really pretty. And then I do have my HoseLink solar pathway lights. These are the motion sensor ones. And while I was watering everything in, I just cleaned these off so that they can get as much sun as needed. They have been working really great, and they'll turn on at night when you walk through here, and it's just really pretty. So I'll put my affiliate link to HoseLink in the description down below if you guys are interested in those. But I just have to say, this was a good planting day. It looks really good. And again, the mulch that I used and the big pile of mulch that I have over here, this type of mulch is called walk-on mulch. And I actually learned in Master Gardeners that next to arborist wood chips, it's the best type of mulch to use to feed your garden. So the goal of this mulch is to actually break down and add nutrients, nitrogen, organic matter to your garden soil. So it's definitely going to break down. So you just have to think of what you are looking for in your garden. If you're looking for a mulch to keep the water in and make your garden look really pretty and stay for as long as possible, I don't know if I would get walk-on mulch because walk-on mulch is all different sizes, it's going to break down faster, which is actually what I want for my garden because I'm still working on the soil in my garden. And I still want that soil improvement that the walk-on mulch is going to give me. And it just looks so pretty. It's natural, it's not dyed, and it's really healthy for the garden. If you can get arborist wood chips, more power to you. I would rather have arborist wood chips, but I think that this looks really good, and it's almost as good for my garden as the arborist wood chips. So anyway, all around a great day. I'm gonna go get another glass of water, and then I will probably move on to another project today because it's a great gardening day, beautiful spring day. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.